Something to do with mobile phones and laptops. If you have other work to do, we can do it outside, please. So, thank you. I know you have other work to do, but okay. Let's just recap this morning. After the introductions and we set a code of conduct, what did we do first? Can anybody remember this morning? No, it's not up there. Okay, threats and issues. And we sorted them into 4 components, which were fisheries resources, environment, human, and governance, which is a sort of a nice way to think about sustainable development. Then, after that, what did we do? Anybody remember? Sorry, could you turn that one off? Everyone's looking for the answer there. Okay, we had a look at what is EAFM, and I referred you to this brochure, which has a good summary and something that you can look at again when you go home. Then we had a look at some of the legal and policy frameworks that are in place that will support you to do this work. Okay? Thank you. We've now got a session on linking policy with management action. The logic here is if we put this management action into place, we will achieve the policy, not the other way around. You can't just say, let's have a healthy environment. So this is one example I put in. The policy says to manage fisheries sustainably. The fisheries management plan says we want to increase fish abundance. And then the action is to ban some destructive gear and increase compliance. Let's see if we can do another example on the screen, on the flip chart here. Can be environment, water, irrigation, I don't mind. Let's try. What's a policy that would be relevant to fisheries management? Do we have a microphone? What's in the law? Here's my example. Manage fisheries, healthy environment. And again. Hey, sorry, we got the floor here. Oh,
okay.
Hang on.
We put, sustainable of fishery production for the 600,000 ton per year. It's not increase or no down.
No
so we
okay.
stable
Okay.
fishery production.
The policy is no increase in production. No increasing. No increase in production. Yeah, there's the microphone. did it last night. Okay. Right, if you were writing a fisheries management plan in an ecosystem, what would be an objective for no increase in production? Yeah, what would be your objective? Yeah. How do you have no increase in production?
To avoid the overfishing.
Yeah, a little bit more.
Yeah, not increasing capacity.
So the plan would be to speak up. Yeah.
We target the 600,000 ton per year.
Yeah.
That's not overfishing. We want to, both maintain the stock and also not overfishing.
Okay. So
But however, we put the target for increased aquaculture, 20% annually.
So would your plan say something like to limit the fishing capacity?
Yeah,
Something like that? Okay.
Arrest the fishing boat.
Limit. Yeah.
Limit the fishing capacity.
Okay, we've got that objective. What management action would we put in place to limit the fishing capacity? Yeah.
Isn't limit capacity a management action rather than an
No,
objective?
I can't.
Action to
What's the?
I would say the target would be 600,000 tons and not more. Or the plan.
Present production.
Yeah.
I would be looking for more of a specific action rather than limit fishing capacity.
You have to know it first.
I would
Well, for example,
catches not exceeding 600,000 tons.
that's the
It's the policy.
policy, yeah. But what action would you put in place to limit fishing capacity? Come on, this is not rocket science.
The quota of the fishing vehicles or
Okay.
regulation, regulation by enforcement,
Okay. Would be things like licenses, license. Yeah.
registration also. Yeah.
Okay, things like gear restrictions. And to answer your question, Jacob, these things are sort of like a bit like a concertina. What's a policy? What's an action? What I'm looking for is how are you going to limit capacity? Okay? That's the question you need to ask. That's a policy in Cambodia. Okay. Of capture fisheries, not aquaculture. Okay. Right, we're going to now.
And zoning also, the action that they can zone for in Cambodia case,
Yeah, we might put in zoning. Yeah, there's lots of actions we can put in place. Okay. You get the idea now of this sort of hierarchy. So, if I saw a plan that said, my objective is to limit the production to 600,000 tons, the next question obviously is, how do you do that? Okay, and this is what this is all about. Right, we're going to give you now on your tables some policies, some plan objectives, and some actions. Your job is to sort out which is a policy, which is an objective, and which is a management action. And the examples will be an example of fishery resources, an environment example, a human example, and a governance example. So in your tables, work together and group them up, and then we'll put them back. Each country, policy, plan, action. You can stand up to see.
What is that? These are multiple choice.
So which is a policy, which is a plan objective, which is an action.
Policy. Healthy fish habitats.
You've got some sticky? Oh, good. So in this case we got policy, plan, action.
But we have to separate.
Okay, actually.
Okay.
You can stick. Here, stick.
But which one is environment? Healthy fish habitats, yes. Environment. No, about human and governance.
Management action.
But actually they talk about fisheries. I thought aquaculture.
Sorry, you're confusing me.
There's something about century. Yeah.
Restocking.
But restocking, I think everybody agrees should. It's a no word.
Well,
But it's still used. So
Cooperation with environmental.
one of these hasn't been cut.
yeah.
The restocking one. Where is it? Yeah, that one. Here we go. Can you get these to use so I can use the board?
Eric, how does the ATM work yet?
Sorry?
ATM. What kind of card do you use? Is it credit card or you can also get a bank card?
I don't credit or debit. I don't think you can use a bank card. You mean an EAFM card?
Oh, that's what you call a Euro card.
You're right. If it's got a Visa or a MasterCard. Yeah, Maestro. Yeah, that works. Maestro works. I think so. Yeah, I'll give it a bit my Maestro. So this is my simple logical framework.
Oh, I use policy, strategy, and plan.
Okay.
And then action comes.
Under the plan.
But it's
But
interchangeable.
yeah, then if I use measure, management and measure, which confuses everybody. What are we measuring?
Then you have taking the outcome and output.
Oh, yeah. results-based, all that stuff. Yeah. And I think the point is you need to get down on get dirty.
Yeah. No, actually, the policy should certainly plan is an FAO diagram.
I probably will.
But I think it's when they develop
and none of this is new.
no, like with the integrated development, multidisciplinary development,
Holistic.
holistic, yeah.
Second officially น่าจะเป็น policy พวกอะไรนะ combat legal fishing น่าจะเป็น
ก็คือไม่ได้ด้วยมันถึงจะมาได้
ไอ้ตรง combat น่าจะเป็น combat คือ legal
ที่สำคัญที่สำคัญอย่างนี้นะยืนนี่สำคัญสีได้มันมองเป็น3 เส้นก็ได้เป็นเส้นของมันถ้าจะยั่งยืนก็ต้องมีไปทำในเรื่องกฎหมายว่ายั่งยืนส่วนยั่งยืนก็ยั่งยืนส่วนกฎหมายก็ใช่ไหมได้โอเคผู้มีภาพก็อยู่ในนี้แล้วอันนี้เดี๋ยวเอาซอสอันนี้ใหม่เอาซองที่3ใช่ไหม
Okay, thank you everybody. I think most people got it roughly right in the end, but you had to start thinking. There was no correct answer, but importantly, we've ended up with some actions. Improve hatcheries, cooperate with the environment to do protected areas, improve fish handling, and provide training. So these are all management actions that we can put in place in that. This is all background, okay? The policies. It's not easy, and there are, in our 1-week training course, we spend about a day on this, and we use things like problem trees and component analysis and ways to tease these out. The important thing is, how are we going to achieve these things? And then for each of these, we would have an indicator and a benchmark. A couple of important ones. Fisheries Agency does not have the mandate sometimes to do some of these things. So this is where you have to cooperate with the Environment Agency, who have the mandate to have protected areas. Cooperate with the Forestry Department for protected areas. Any comments or questions? Okay, someone asked me the question, why have some of these got to restore, to improve, to... It's a way of making an objective.
But in your slide, it does not show like
To
that.
increase fish abundance. I took that from the Lao Cambodia plan or something. It's
I
already in there. Okay. So an objective can become an action, and they just sort of all link together. But the important thing is they do link, and there's some logic. So when you say to fishermen, I'm going to develop the capacity to do this, you have a reason why you're doing it. To talk to the fishermen and say, we're doing this to improve your livelihood, and this is what we're going to do. Rather than say, you must fish with this gear, you must not use mesh size greater than this, you must not do that, and there's no logic in what's being said. So this is just using a linkage and logic to write a better plan and have a plan that's understood. Any comments on that little exercise? I know it's not an easy one.
Yeah, I think the policy, the first line, I think better to use sustainable fishery management is as a policy. Rather you use the verb, sustainable managed fishery. Better to use sustainable fishery management as a policy.
Yeah, here I use sustainable fisheries. It's all the same sort of high-level policy.
Yeah, we are foreigners, so we need something inconsistent.
Another day of workshop, we could look at what the word sustainable means. This is just shorthand for sustainable development. So really that is managed fisheries to achieve sustainable development. And we shorthand it to sustainable management. And you'll see it everywhere in everybody's policy documents. But it's not good English. It's not very... It's not the management that should be sustainable. You're doing it to make sustainable development, sustainable resources. I'm sorry, but that's the way we use these terms in English. You read a plan and that's what it's got in a policy. And it's always very bit loose. Here we're trying to tighten it up a little bit. Okay? All right, I'll hand over to... No.
Okay, good afternoon. I hope everyone not feel sleepy after lunchtime. No, it's okay. So we try to provide you more activity after lunch. So now we are coming to the EAFM process. But before we go to the process of the EAFM, so I have one more activity for you. I would like everyone to think about the stakeholder in your fishery management unit. Please try to think that who is your key stakeholder in the FMU. Yes, and I give you 5 or 10 minutes to write. It's maybe 3 stakeholders for one person. Can we? You already have the key, the card in your table. So another activity, who is your key stakeholder? Your wife? Your wife? Yes.
Does everybody understand stakeholder?
Stakeholder.
What is who is a stakeholder? A definition of a stakeholder is somebody or a group of people that are affected by your decisions or they can affect your decisions. Okay, the people you work with. Researchers, NGOs, authorities, processors, ops. Good. One missing one. One missing. One important one.
Policy. Fish is người ăn cá. Consumer, đúng không? Mình chưa có consumer. Fish consumer. Mình thiếu policy maker đó.
Okay, everybody. Nobody put this one. Obviously, there's lots of stakeholders, and the challenge is how to work with those stakeholders. The missing one I was looking for, I mentioned this morning when called political will. Okay? Your politician is an important stakeholder, a very important stakeholder, one that you have to have working with you. Okay? Government or the politician is very important, not the agents, the ministry boss, the politician. Okay? The person who makes all the decisions for you. Okay, thank you for that.